Hi and welcome. All right, today we're going to make steak, my absolute favorite. And the steaks that I have that we're going to prepare are New York strips. My husband and I absolutely love filet mignon. And what I love to do is buy a whole beef filet when they're, $8.99 a pound or whatever, and trim it myself and then cut them into the sizes of fillets that we like. Throw them in freezer bags and pull them out whenever I want them. But when I went to the grocery store, they were having a great deal on New York strips, so that's what we're going to have today. Ribeyes are also wonderful, but these are strips. All I did was earlier, a couple hours ago, I took them out so that they would come to room temperature, took them out of the fridge, and then I put my house seasoning on there and then a little extra pepper and just kind of rubbed them in, and I did that on both sides just so it could kind of sit and marinate. So, we're going to start by getting our pan really, really hot. And I'm going to show you how to do the way they finish them off in a restaurant. So, a little bit of olive oil and butter. So, we're going to let that get real good and hot, and then we'll put our steaks in for just a couple of minutes, brown them on both sides, and then we're going to finish them off in the oven. So go ahead and set your oven for 400 degrees so it'll be ready when you finish browning your steaks, and we will pop them in the oven at the end. And don't forget, I told you that our favorite meal was steak, the stir-fried onions, peppers, and mushrooms, and the smashed cauliflower, which is working over in this pot. So make sure you check out those other videos. Also, a salad would be wonderful with this, and I've got several wonderful salad dressings that you definitely want to try. So check out those videos too. And if you need a dessert, I've got several of those you can try. So we got it all covered. Give that a quick stir while we're waiting on this to get really good and hot. All right. Let's grab our first steak. It actually could even be a little bit hotter so you can kind of hear it sear when you put it in. Move this out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and bring my pan over that we're going to put them in the oven. Turn it up just a little bit higher. And we're really only going to cook these on each side for about 2 to 3 minutes, just so they get nice and brown. And then, like I said, we'll finish it off in the oven. Now, we like our steaks medium, sometimes even medium rare. You can just cook it in the oven a little bit longer if you are more of a medium well to well done. I don't know why you would do that, because to me it just loses the flavor, but if that's what you like, you can do it however you want to. Another nice thing that I do sometimes is I take butter and I mix in garlic and fresh rosemary and make a rosemary butter. And that is absolutely wonderful to use in place of your just regular butter for your steaks too. It's delicious. We especially like that on fillets. I'm just going to check the other side of my steak and see it's not quite brown enough. So let's let it sear for just a little bit more on that side. And it's smelling yummy. Doesn't this make you hungry? All right, we're going to flip our steaks over. Let them hang out on the other side for a few minutes. See how nice and brown that our steaks are? And we're about ready to pull them out and put them in the oven to finish them off. All right, so they're good and brown on both sides. So now what we're going to do is I went ahead and put the griddle in the 400-degree oven so that it would get good and hot. What I really love to do is to cook my steaks in a pan that that has a handle that is oven proof, so I can just go ahead and put the whole pan in the oven and finish it off that way. But I didn't have one of those today, so we're going to make this work. All right, let's go over to the oven. And we'll just pull this out real quick. Get my tongs open here. And let's just put our steaks on the griddle. Now, we definitely do not want to waste this yummy butter. So we're going to pour it right over the top. Yum. All right. Now, depending on how you like your steak, if you want it medium rare, then I would leave it in there for anywhere from 6 to 8 minutes. And then if you want it more well done than that, then depending on the thickness of your steak, just let it stay in a little bit longer. You can always use a meat thermometer if you want to check that. Medium rare is usually about 145. You want to pull it out because it's going to, once you pull it out of the oven, it's going to increase another 5 degrees. So anyway, just keep that in mind. And I'll have all this written down in the recipe, so don't worry about it. You're just kind of getting the technique. All right, that will be the steaks, and we'll check back on them in just a minute. All right, while the steaks are in the oven, I'm taking the pan juices that are left because I didn't pour out all the butter. There was a little bit left, and there were some crusty, nice pieces on the bottom of the pan from where we browned the steak. So I've added a little bit of butter, and I'm just melting this down real quick and using that butter to kind of scrape the pieces up off the bottom of the pan. You know, if you've got beef broth, you could put a little beef broth in there too. I kind of showed you in my pork tenderloin video how to make my pan gravy, and it's the same concept. We're just going to use some kind of liquid to get the nice bits off the bottom of the pan, and now it's starting to boil. And I'm going to grab, since we use the balsamic vinegar for our onions, peppers, and mushrooms, and we're going to eat these together, a little bit of balsamic would be great in with this. So pour a little bit of that in. And just heat it for a moment and let it get reduced just a little bit. And with balsamic vinegar, when you let it reduce, it just gets this nice thick syrup. Oh, smells so good. Except the vinegar will almost make your eyes water. All right. Almost done. I told you it's making my eyes water. Do I look like I'm crying and getting all emotional over this? It just tastes so good. I can't wait. You would think I was cutting an onion. All right. I don't know if you can see, but well, you probably can see what I just spilled on the stove. But we just have a nice little sauce there. Let me cut the stove off, and let's just wipe this up real quick. All right, let's grab our steaks out. You can turn that off. There we go. All right. And we're just going to grab one of the steaks, put it on our plate, pour just a little of the sauce over the top. Now, you remember those wonderful garlic smashed potatoes that we made, and the onions, peppers, and mushrooms? So let's put some of that on our plate. You could definitely have some chives that you might want to put on top, or the bacon like we talked about. But doesn't that just make a wonderful looking dinner? Oh, it is going to be so good. And I think my cameraman's kind of hungry and ready to eat. So I hope you enjoy one of our favorite dinners: steak, garlic, mashed cauliflower, and onions, peppers, and mushrooms stir fry. They're getting hot. Makeup. I'm telling you what, if I was on Food Network, they'd be having to turn the air down to 32 degrees and we'd be blowing smoke in here. We're freezing. We're sorry, but the diva over there wants it cold, so